welcome to the first advisory clinic done by AISP. So without further ado, let me invite AISP Vice President and CAP Exco Lead Tony to kickstart the session.
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for attending. And as what Karen says, this is actually our very first advisory clinic. Um, let's see if I forgot what the slide is. So, okay, going down. I come to this first. Yeah, I come to this slide first. So, just to share. So one thing is we have the session recorded today. So what happens is then if you have colleagues that would like to understand more in terms of what AISP, I think we have WSG and who's presenting? Stone Forest as well, yeah. So what we want to do is kind of use going forward some of these sessions to bring, especially we have, among you guys, we have advisories. So those are our AISP members who volunteer their time today to do a bit of a clinic. The intent of the clinic is to really share, go through a few questions. The one objective is open up, right? So you don't know what you don't know. We also don't know what you don't know. So using those kind of questionnaires, kind of use that to kind of level set. At the end of the day, what you guys take back is really about, okay, this is what cybersecurity is. This is what I need to start thinking. Who should I look out for? Or how do I look out for? Do I need to do training? Do I need to find people? Do I need to go buy tools? Whatever, right? So this is what CAP is all about. It's really bringing awareness, focusing on SMEs. And that's why the reach out today is to the SMEs. So you could be the tauges, you could be the boss, or the leadership team, right? So because I think we notice especially with COVID, right? We talk about digitization. So I think different people have different concepts of what digitization is, but when it comes to risk, it's the same. Once you put stuff in the internet, you become at risk. But the thing is, what do you need to protect? What do you need to do? How do you protect? How do you better protect yourself? It's not 100% that you're safe, right? So I think this is what the charter for CAP, which I'm running, is, right? So I mean, then I go back to a bit. So what is AI? Who is AISP? AISP is actually a members built association. That means, like myself, I'm volunteer, so I'm running this. I have day job that does that. But one thing is actually to look at these three key pillars. That means we have this concept of advance, connect, and excel. So advance means that we have things like book of knowledge. So if you are interested, we actually publish a book from the association. We call it Body of Knowledge. Sorry. So basically, it gives you a broad spectrum of what the areas or topics in terms of security, in fact, IT security. So data, cloud, and so on and so forth, right? There are other things that we run also. I think Karen actually one of our champion for running knowledge series. So you'll see, if you're interested, you will see you'll get our members will get reach out in terms of we'll be running webinars with different vendors. They'll be coming in to share some of the trends and tools and learnings, right? And so on and so forth. But there are certification programs that we run as well, QSP. So there's a journey that we have, and we have partners who help you to do that. So Karen, which is the one who opened up the session, is our secretary. Anything related to AISP, you can reach out to her. And then we have all this various connect. So connect means that we work with our ecosystem. Ecosystem means the vendors. Regional, we also have regional connects. That means I personally will work with the Philippines equivalent or the Brunei equivalent. Why? Because we also want to share the knowledge, and hopefully using this platform, members or you guys can actually leverage on to reach out to other countries as well. I think Excel is where we recognize. So we have a yearly event that we give awards, but we do also look at the certain traits that the intent is to recognize companies an individual who has contributed to the community. So that's what excel. And this is what how we look at. So the underpinning is our members. So later you be nice to our members who are spending their time to give you some to give you the clinic, right? So I think I want to start off with this. I'm not sure whether anyone has watched the movie called Dunkirk. So this is a scene. This is a real scene where the British soldiers were retreating on the beachfront at Dunkirk, and the British Army couldn't get them off the beach. So the calling was to get any able sailors in UK at that time to sail their own mini boats and then go to the shore and fetch all those soldiers lah. So the thing is, this guy here is the owner of the ship or the boat. It's like you guys, the SMEs, the tauques, right? Because what's in front of you? Wow, a lot of fire, inflation, cannot hire people, costs going up every day. Those are unknowns in inflation. But then there's certain things that you need to do today, right? So you need to digitize and change your business model. You don't know. But what ASP look at is not the whole business, but it's really looking at how do we support you in getting your business safe. Because digitization is something that is needed, definitely. But how do you get it safe? You need to get someone with limited knowledge and budget. Is there a way for us to reach out to someone else? I think we provide a bit of that to give you that initial kickstart of the journey. So this is kind of, I assume this is what it looks like as a journey for any SME today. Even large enterprise, the same thing. It's no different, right? And this is not just us only. Across the ASEAN, this is actually presented in the ASEAN conference. It's not just we, Singapore, having the same challenges. Imagine we have challenging environment to hire. Look at the other countries, right? So it's not just us, but then we also look at, if you look at it, the reason why is limited resources, awareness, regulatory. I think this is the last thing that is important here. You need to understand that the day job of a attacker is to go and do something bad. That's their day job, right? I think if we were chatting earlier, so the latest is ICBC, right? Yeah. So those are, it doesn't matter big or small, because if it's small, there's still it could be, the big ones can pay money. Why the small? If as an SME you got that attack, you know what will happen? Is a issue of survival. You might not even be able to operate. Imagine after the attack you have to close down, right? So those are risks. Actually, this is kind of where we started because of this MCI. They're talking about ecosystem support. We come and we hit the calling. But then, how CAP looks at it, as I mentioned, there's a few areas: awareness, body knowledge. So this is what we focus. But in CAP, we have some of this already. So we have a set of videos that I'll show you. But then here, if you look at it, we have the awareness, resources, and also some of the support solutions. But if you go to our website, I think we have a website today with specifically on CAP. So we have things like, but within our general website, we have where you can get some of this knowledge and the map. But we are also trying to, so today that's why we work with agencies to look at grants and programs. If you want to do, like for example, there are certain grants that you can go and get if I want to adopt cloud, right? And there are certain grants that you can go if I want to digitize. If you are retail, you have a POS, right? Those are the grants you can go after. But we do also have other things that we're coming up. So as awareness, we have workshops, focus group, and awareness. So but these are more on the training and body of knowledge, but awareness workshop is where we sometimes run webinars. So if you follow, next time if you go LinkedIn, you look at our LinkedIn page, There's a webinar that we run regularly. In fact, the other side, we also have another webinars running. So these are our partners. This is all the associations. I think we have SGTech as well today. I think when it comes to here, because this is where broadly, these are the 6 areas of focus. So there's a QR code here, because what we did was we had this as part of body of knowledge. We have a set of slides, but what we did is to make it even simpler, we convert it into videos. So we go through the slides just to give you the initial background, what the some of all these topics. So you can see from module 1, understanding digital landscape, all the way to incident response. What do you need to consider for incident response? So there's a video that every one of this has 5 to 6 minutes video. There's a quick overview. It's not really to give you the in-depth, but the thing is, at least from that video, you understand what you need to look out for. Then you start to go into maybe prioritization. Which one I want to go first? This here. So this is the e-learning program. So this one is the learning. This one is the e-learning website, right? And we do have a lot of sessions. As I mentioned, we have a lot of events throughout the year. CAP. So you go into asp.sg, you see all the events that we have for the calendar year. So it's not just me, we have other members who's running this as well. And that's it. So this is a quick overview of AISP and CAP. With that, I pass it back to WSG.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for coming down for this session. I'm Rainer from Workforce Singapore. So Workforce Singapore, just to generate a quick introduction, Workforce Singapore is a statutory board under Ministry of Manpower. And we look at the employments as well as the company manpower needs of the company, right? So for today's session, we will talk a bit about how the companies, right, can attribute a future-ready type talent. So for today's sessions, I'll be focusing on 3 main areas. The first is the key insights about from the Infocom job transformation map. That is followed by what are the key skills that tech professionals will need in order to stay relevant in today's time. Then last but not least, I will also talk about the resources and the support that company can tap on to build your tech team. So this is the Infocom and the job transformation map. I will stay here for a while for you all to do a quick QR code scan to retrieve the JTN. Yep. Okay. All good? Okay, I'll move on. So, in order to adapt to a constant evolving environment, right, there is a need for the ICT workforce to actually be equipped with the right capabilities as well as the skills. But first, you might ask, what is INC JTM? So INC JTM is actually a study that is conducted by Ernst & Young, appointed by INBA, and this was released back in October 2022. So the purpose of the study, right, is actually to uncover what is the impact of technologies as well as megatrend in the ICT workforce within Singapore, as well as to identify what are the roles that will be affected by the technologies and megatrends. Right, but you might think, how does it going to affect me as an individual or as an employer? So from the employer perspective itself, right, or hiring manager, you can actually tap on the findings of the INC JTMs, right, to so-called reskill your existing team or look at what are the job roles that you want to redesign. As for an individual, right, we all know that the ICT job role itself will be evolving as a result of digitization or automation. So for working professional like you and me, definitely we will need to stay relevant on what are the skill sets we need in order to move on. So for Ernst & Young actually did a desktop research and also thought leadership, and through that itself, they actually discovered that there are 10 trends that is impacting INC workforce in the next 3 to 5 years. However, within these 10 trends itself, right, the focus, I would rather say, more of the impact is that in the area of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and evolving IT ecosystem, these are the 3 areas that will make the most significant impact in our ICT workforce. So for the ICT impact, the JTM itself, actually the team actually first conducted an impact analysis. So the purpose, right, is actually to assess what is the impact of technology and megatrends in terms of the functional job tracks, right? Once that is done, they actually proceed on to skill analysis. Basically, is to identify what are the skill sets required for the future I&C job roles, as well as what are the adjacent job roles that they could transit over to. So they actually assess about 100 ICM job itself across 7 different functional tracks. And they actually categorize it into 3 impact levels. So the first high impact level itself, right, basically they are jobs that are facing displacement, or rather job will undergo convergence in the next 3 to 5 years, right? What this means is that a significant portion, right, of their job will be changed. So one example, right, could be, for example, the infrastructure support engineer. Okay. As for media impact role itself, right, these are job roles where so-called a small proportion of the existing job tasks will change. So there is a need to redesign those jobs. So one example could be the DevSecOps itself, right? The last but not least, which is the low impact job role itself. These are basically job roles with minimum change because they are dependent on, they are human dependent. So roles like your BD roles, your sales roles, all this. So high impact, right? So for high impact role, it's mostly in the area of infrastructure and operation support. The reason for that is because with digitizations and AI coming in, all these jobs technically can be automated, right? So if I use an example, let's say infrastructure support engineer, right? With artificial intelligence, technically, right, these engineers so the AI can actually predict the server loads and also automatically locate those backup. This would mean that those engineers, right, could actually now be free up of their time to do more higher value work. And also with companies shifting to cloud-based services, there is also a less of a need for on-premises infrastructures, right? And because today's topic is really more on the cybersecurity, I just list an example using the associate security analyst. So with the introduction of artificial intelligence, right, actually it can reduce the workload of first level analysis. So first level analysis like incident management, threat detection, right? So with fewer staff handling this kind of routine work itself, this stuff can actually be redeployed to higher value work. For example, cybersecurity assessment. And also with the more pervasive use of AI cybersecurity solutions, company is also less reliant on associate security analysts. And this is actually a very good opportunity for you to redesign and reskill this group of employees to a new role. So a new role could be actually in the area of a security engineer. And what they kind of need is mostly in the area of top-up skills in cyber risk management, security architecture, and security governance. As for media impact roles, as more businesses are moving towards AI or cloud-based applications, there is a need for these job roles individuals, right, to acquire more of technical skill sets. But as we go, there will be more opportunity for us to collaborate within the organization itself. So this will also mean that those individuals would require some additional soft skills in the areas of communication, stakeholder management, or maybe in the area of problem solving, right? For low impact jobs, these are technically the least impacted by technological change, right? But that being said, these groups of employees should still be aware of what are the emerging technologies and business change. So, for example, if you are a business, you have a BD folks, right? These BD folks, he's primarily in charge of driving sales and stakeholder engagement. But actually, you can incorporate AI into it by, let's say, in the use of data crawling. So basically, this BD guy, he can use the insights to kind of identify what are the market segment, or identify the customer's profile. Yeah, okay. So I come to my last item, which is about the resources and support that companies can use to build your tech talent. So the two areas I will talk about is tech career services as well as career conversion program. So for tech career services itself, right, this is where companies can understand more about the latest ICT trends or manpower needs, all this from through workshop or seminars. And if you're actually looking at job-ready talent, right, actually TCS can also help to facilitate that match, right? Then as for career conversion program itself, we all know that the tech talent market is very competitive. So if you are willing to hire individuals with relevant, right, maybe a 50% fit, right? But these are the individuals who are keen to come to the ICT sector, right? This is where attitude matters, right? You can, or if you are thinking of your existing employees and you want to provide them with an alternative career pathway, then this is CCP is something that your organization can consider. So for CCP itself, we also companies can also tap onto WSG salary support for the entire program duration. So with this, I will hand the time over to Gary from SG Tech, who is our appointed program partner for tech career services as well as career conversion program. Gary, please.
Okay, before I move on, right, I just want to have a show of hand. How many of our audience here participated in a career conversion program before? Oh, sir. So what career conversion program have you participated?
The company participated in it.
Oh, you didn't. Then the company.
I'm one of the managers.
Oh, okay. So you manage someone who went through a career conversion program, lah. And what career conversion program is that? Can I ask?
From the operations to the sales.
Operations to sales. So like a BD kind of role, lah.
Correct.
Okay, right. And who is the program manager at the time? Can't remember, huh? Okay, cool. Okay, but anyway, so basically what I want to share today, right, as what Reina has mentioned, we are the program official appointed program manager for career conversion program. And of course, having said that, being a trade association that looks after the tech industry, the career conversion program that we managers are largely focused on the ICT sector itself, lah. So, but before I move on to the type of career conversion programs that we offer, I'd just like to share with our audience today, right, the career services that actually Tech as Association offers to companies in the tech industry, right? Especially when we're looking at, at hiring someone, or even for that matter, we work a lot with companies, like to do some kind of like branding exercise, because different companies, they have different experience, different backgrounds. So usually when we hold events similar to what it is today, right, we will have company doing some of their sharing as well, lah. So I think as what you can see here, we have 5 different pillars of services that we offer to both individuals and companies. So talent support, talent success, talent match, talent partner, talent advisory. Okay, so you can see that, right, actually largely a lot of all these things are still targeted for individuals. Like for example, talent support, right, that is really targeted at people who are trying to find out something for themselves. Because the thing is that when we especially as an association, right, when we talk to job seekers, right, then job seekers sometimes you'll say, I want to go into tech, but I don't know what tech should I go into, right? And then it's like, should I go into, even from the functional level, right, they'll say things, I'm not sure if I should look into the BD side of things or analytical side of things. So there's so many different things, but all they want to do is that I want to do a career conversion. I want to do a mid-career switch. So what we do is that we will actually put them through a 7-week program where they'll be assigned a mentor as well to really guide them through, to find out more about themselves, what is their knowledge, ability, skills, even experience for that matter, to really determine what could be a potential area they can move into. So that's what the talent support program is all about. But of course, on the other side of things, you will have some kind of like job seekers who already come with skill sets. I've gone through this kind of like NUH courses, then I come into read so much things about what is out there, and I really know that I want to go into the cybersecurity sector. So of course, then in that case, right, we have other things that really help them to match them to the right company. So like talent success, we'll have some kind of like interviews, master classes, even technical techniques, question techniques and all that to guide them through to prepare themselves for more better success in getting a job in the tech industry, right? Then of course, talent match is your like usual career fair, virtual interviews and all that. But what I thought would be interesting to you guys would be this last two would be what we call the talent partners and talent advisory. So of course for talent partner itself, right? Um, like with how the tech is evolving, and a lot of the tauke always tell us that I find it very hard to find skilled people now, right? So that's why I think the emphasis and the importance of skills-based hiring become more critical in this sense. So in fact, Tech is also working closely with the likes of like HR professionals and all that in the development of skills-based hiring playbooks, right? And also to understand what are kind of skills, right, that's out there which you can look into when it comes to hiring, and not just purely based on the person's like academic requirements or academic credentials in this sense. So we do have a lot of properly curated workshops that we actually promote to companies for them to actually attend and understand, and even like within their own community, discuss some of the best practices when it comes to hiring or even retention for that matter. So that's under the talent partner portion. And last but not least, right, if let's say any of you are interested, we'll be more than happy to discuss with you how we can actually create a clinic session with you guys as part of our anchor company. Because most of the time, some of all these things, right, is like, coming from a company perspective, right, sharing your experience, sharing your industry knowledge to our job seekers actually is more valuable than hearing just from myself or my colleague in that sense. Okay, yeah. So. And then I will touch a little bit on career conversion program. For those who have not really, participated in the career conversion program as before, just to continue from what Reina has mentioned, essentially, right, the key focus is really, really to help mid-career switchers. For those who have not so-called enter a certain industry or sector, or for that matter, they have not, do the same job before, right? Mainly is to really equip them with the right skills and competency, right? And move into a new occupation or a new industry for that matter. So that's why you can see that the whole process can be quite structured lah. So you can see that we look at it in this sense that we have the purpose of the career conversion, or rather I would say the benefit of the career conversion program, there are three areas to look at it. Of course, the reduction of cost itself is most important, I feel, because it provides certain kind of salary support and incentivize companies, right, to really give the mid-career switchers a chance to move into a new career or to build a new career. But more importantly, I think we should also look at it in this sense. What do you mean by assess talent? I think it also helps our HR or company in this sense, right, to look beyond just the fresh graduates, and also to look at this group of people, the mid-career switchers itself, and how they could be the potential good hires that you can look at, when you use the career conversion program as a way to hire them and retrain them, reskill them. But of course, within the organization itself, right, as what Reina has mentioned earlier, there's also a potential of what you call the low impact, high impact, and medium impact job itself. So within the organization, as the company is going through certain form of transformation, business transformation, adoption of certain things itself, there could be a potential way, or rather I would say potential opportunity and a need for you to actually look into a reskilling of your existing employees. So that's where we are talking about how it can help you to support your growth and build a pipeline of talent in this sense. Okay, so as a program administrator, these are the various different CCPs that we currently have. So we largely classify them into four broad categories, what we call the cloud professionals, platform system and system professionals, the tech professionals, and last but not least, the infocom and sales, infocom sales and marketing professionals. So, which I think some of them those that are more relevant to you would maybe largely be in the area of associate security analysts. That really, the key goal of that is really to design to equip PMETs, right, to reskill and train them into being the fundamental entry level of cybersecurity specialist in this case. Of course, we recently also started the AI application developer, CCP, right? And I think some of the more applicable could also be the information security auditor and DevSecOps engineer. Okay, so these are the CCPs that we manage. And then last but not least, I just want to highlight some differences and the things that you can look into and consider. So all CCPs operate on like three different modalities, what we call the new hire, which is essentially hiring someone who's new, totally new, right, who has no experience, no skills, whatever, reskill them and put them on to this new job. Then, of course, we have the redeployment and the job reskilling and redesign. So, of course, redeployment, we are talking about a situation whereby this person's job is going to be made redundant, immediate risk, and you feel that they have certain form of value still, and they have certain, or maybe it could be the fact that they are in the company for a while, and then you want to give them a chance to learn something new and build their career. So that could be a potential of redeployment in this case. But a lot of times, right, I would say they will still fall under a job redesign and reskilling. So for companies who are not sure how to go about redesigning and reskilling your team, or the people who requires such so-called intervention, right? I mean, of course, Architect can come in and step in and see how we can assist you in the job redesign and the reskilling portion. So, of course, you can see that in terms of the duration, there's a standard duration for all the different three models. For new hire and redeployment, we require company commit their trainees for a 6 months training duration. But for job redesign, reskilling, there's a commitment for 3 months training duration here. Okay. And now it comes to this part which I'm going to share, which I think is happy news. Okay, because for salary support itself, right, for Singaporeans and PR, what we term as non-mature PMET, which is younger than 40 years old, will support you at 70% of the monthly salary, but there's a cap 4,000 per month. Okay, but if it's talking about someone who is more than 40 years old, mature PMET, right, then we will support at 90% of the monthly salary, up to 90% of the monthly salary, capped at 6,000 per month in this sense. Okay, so I think that's all I would like to share. But I think one of the key criteria, I think these are some of the eligibility criteria that I think you can look at. Company must be locally registered, based in Singapore with a local ACRA and UN number. But what I want to point out a little bit more is really about the trainees, because we don't want you to, look through the pool of your existing employees and think that anyone can just put in. So of course, in this case, right, Singaporeans and PR is a non-negotiable portion. They must be minimum 21 years old, completed NS, that means at least 2 years of working experience. But what I want to point out is that if let's say you're looking at putting someone who is a new hire, you must make sure that at the point of their commencement of the CCP, right, they must not be more than 3 months within the organization already. Okay, so do check in with us if let's say you're interested, and we can advise you further. But let's say if you're looking at a redeployment situation or job redesign or reskilling, then you must ensure that your employee must have at least, or rather they must have at least been employed with the company for 1 year. Then that's when we can see that if there is really a need for a job redesign and reskilling for this individual in this sense. Okay. Other things, I think the slides I think can be shared with you. You can just read up on that. Yeah. So if you'd like to find out more about what we can offer and how we can help you, do connect with us. This is our QR code and there's our email address. And my colleague Eva is over there as well, sitting behind. So of course, do check in with us, have a chat with us if you want to find out more. Okay. With that, I'll pass it back to Rainer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, if you are interested in know more about the BSG initiatives, right, feel free to follow us on LinkedIn as well as subscribe to our Telegram channel, right? So for now, it's more of a Q&A sessions. If you have any questions on what we have just shared.
Yeah. So these are the program that you actually help the PMET to do the conversion.
That's right.
Say, for example, we want to do associate security as a nice.
That's right.
So we can actually get our internal employees or staff to actually participate in this.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
And you would you will provide a program for them to go through, right?
We do have a structured training blueprint that we can share with you,
Okay.
which will outline the various different skills and competency that they are required to fulfill. And then, of course, the various different detailed activities that you can look at in training them.
And
Yeah.
upon successfully attaining this particular qualification, right, will they be recognized by the industries?
I would say yes. I mean, but of course, if you're looking at like getting them certified and all that, I mean, we could point you to some suitable training partners, that we have in place that
So
you can
this is just
put
the
them on.
basic knowledge for them.
Correct. Yeah, correct. I mean, I would say that once they are so-called being, once their job is being redesigned and they're being reskilled, and then ultimately after 3 months or 6 months, they are able to do the job in the company itself, then they would already have the skills and competencies to be able to
And all
survive.
this information can be found in National.
Yes, they can be found in National itself. Yeah. In fact, I think the slides can be shared with you guys and all that. Yeah, correct.
Thanks.
So maybe just to also add on to what you mentioned, when all the CCPs are being developed itself, right? I mean, there's a proper so-called what we call a skills framework, all the skills and competency we have to follow. So definitely, if you are able to ensure that your employees completed the CCP, based on the blueprint or training plan, then they would have already been considered as a competent security analyst. In a sense.
Can we go one more step?
Okay. Yeah. So all this, right, Oracle, Salesforce, we had are more tied to a certain platform and system. So most of the time, people that when you're talking about like Oracle, Salesforce, that is because they already have some ERP system, CRM system in place, and then they want to reskill, retrain, their employees to be able to be proficient in the usage of all these things. But the thing is that you can see, it's still tied back to a certain job function. Like for example, an administrator, a data analyst, or ERP consultant, and so on and so forth. Yeah, correct.
Any other questions? If there are no further questions, I'll hand the time back to Karen.
Yep. Thank you so much. So up next, we'd like to hand over the time to RSM to start with their presentation.
Good afternoon. This is Cheryl. Together with my colleague Nicholas, we are from RSM Stone Forest. So, of course, I will be one of the speakers here first. Today, I'll basically share with all of you, because it's a very quiet audience, except for this gentleman here that will ask more questions. But what I will basically do is that I'll share a little bit more with you on how businesses should prioritize digitalization plans so that you are able to work more efficiently and securely. Okay? Okay, 3.0 industry revolution. Anybody heard of 3.0, 4.0? Show of hands? Or nobody has heard of this? This is way before I was born. All right, even in the 70s, we were already talking about Industry 3.0, where we talk about adopting digital, okay, to help us remove all the silo, connect all the silo processes together, right, with automation, okay? Of course, this in return, help us to eliminate a lot of mundane processes. Then today, we are no longer just talking about 3.0, although we still see in the market a lot of SMBs are still trying to struggle, with digitalization. Although it's already post-COVID, during COVID, we've gotten a lot of businesses to ride onto the digital wagon. So 4.0 today is talking about involving Internet of Things, right? It talks about how we can integrate physical with the cloud, with digital. Yes? Then, having said so, with this 4.0, we're also talking about how we use digital technology to be able to allow us to understand and have better internal controls at every aspect of a business growth. All right? And with that, it also talks about a single source of data. Data now is our new oil. We need to have data for faster analysis, for better informed decision making. Then, this 5.0 is also something that you may have already heard. It's an emerging trend where people are now talking about using AI, all right? Not to replace us, but to support us, because with the use of AI right now, it helps to speed up automation, and with the use of human in terms of critical and valuable thinking, all right? This essentially talks about putting back people into the center of processes, and with that achieve better quality of life, inclusion, as well as sustainability. So having said so, I think from a business perspective, we also need to talk about, when I say digitalization, what kind of elements are we talking about? Number one, we talk about workflow systems. Okay, importantly, before you can ride onto the digital wagon, I think the first thing you need to look at is internally in terms of your processes or your workflows. Before you can even automate, you need to look at what are all the mundane processes that you can eliminate. Because if you can't eliminate, there's no way you can automate, there's no way you can digitalize, right? Then, of course, having said so, then we also talk about, now that the workforce is more mobile, they can work anytime, anywhere. We also talk about, then what? Do I continue to work on my on-premise servers, or do I go on cloud? Because through cloud, that's also where we can do more collaboration, all right? We can access data anytime, anywhere. Lastly, everybody always talk about, when your data is on cloud, you don't have control. How do you ensure that you have got proper cybersecurity solutions in place to protect your company data, to protect your employees? Okay. Last but not least, you also notice that while I address about, digitalizing my workflows, automating my workflows, go cloud or go on-premise, cybersecurity, but importantly, this is the part, that we talk about governance and SOPs. Within your organization, not sure, because we see a prevailing problem in a lot of SMEs whereby they don't even have a proper set of IT policies. IT policies are really the defined protocols where you address backup, you address security patch management services, as well as business continuity. All right? So having said so, again, because SMBs, they don't have the luxury of the bigger enterprises where they have got the IT manager or the CIO to come in place to advise, you also see that they have common pain points. For example, they talk about, I have this issue, I don't know how to standardize, I don't know how to eliminate all these mundane processes, and therefore I cannot automate. Yes? Then we also talk about, application, because they are not IT trained. So they also wonder, what should I do? Should I stay on premise, have my data all within the office, or do I move to cloud for better efficiency? Security, this is always the toughest challenge I see a lot of SMBs face. While I digitalize already, then how do I address, protecting my staff and then protecting my company data? So again, with all this, you also look at the government. Nowadays, they talk about, example, you look at external certification. They also ask you, do you even have proper IT policies? If not, then how do you go for external certification? How do you go for cyber insurance, for example? Yeah. So therefore, this in GIS really talks about, in order for you to be in the digital world, to stay competitive, to stay relevant, really look at these three key things. Number one, you need to simplify. Okay. Once you simplify and standardize, that's where you can go into the automation and digitalization. Because with this, then you also talk about how you can improve data accessibility, how you can increase productivity of people, as well as have got enough data, timely data to make more informed decisions and to drive your business growth. So having said so, again, I said earlier on, now the world is borderless. You can have staff that work anytime, not within the office. So you have solutions now that's on the cloud. You're able to access it anytime, anywhere. Having said so, over COVID, during COVID and post-COVID, I think a lot of SMBs out there are very well known right now. I need to do a backup onto cloud. I can do disaster recovery. Traditionally last time I would have to buy a data center on offsite, in a separate location to do the same set of replication. But today, with technology, I'm able to use the cloud. Then, of course, on-premise servers versus on-buying cloud. There's no need to have lead time. I don't need to buy a set of hardware that's able to cater for use for the next 3 to 5 years of my business growth. Because with cloud, it's operating expenses. It means to say that I have what I need for now. As I grow, I just need to top up based on subscription, right? Then next, of course, today I think if you watch CNA, our President Taman also talked about businesses going into the AI world. But of course, having said so, I think Singapore is still at the very infant stage. We are still trying to, get to navigate and understand better. But honestly, when it comes to AI, all right, remember, the job of the AI is not to replace human beings, it's to support us, okay, to make us more productive. And therefore, with this, when you go onto the automation wagon, again, it talks about how you can handle data. You can have different sources of data into one common data for you to make predictive analytics. Yeah? Then through that, with what you do, process automation. And importantly, this is to do user experience. Yes? So then I think this one don't have to mention because Tony, Rainer have already mentioned. Cybersecurity threats is something whereby it's really very heightened in Singapore. Like what we always like to share with our clients, even buy mooncake and buy durian also, you can be scared. Yeah, it's impressive, right? And then we talk about having antivirus solutions in your phones, because all of us will use phone to access personal data or corporate data to a certain degree. Everybody, at the moment you wake up, what do? Look at your phone. Yeah, see? Even before you sleep, you look at the phone. So you see how we are so tied up with using technology. I also cannot live without my phone one day. So having said so, Singapore, we are really one of the fastest internet digital technology adopters here. And having said so, Singapore is also one of the most prominent countries where cyber threats happen because of the geographical position that we are in. Yes, studies have shown that out of 5 SMEs, 3 somehow or rather have gotten a cyber attack annually. Yes, if you're not convinced, you go into PDPC website, you see the number of attacks that's happening. Yeah. Then, having said so, when everything is on cloud, cybersecurity, like I mentioned earlier on, becomes something that is of importance. Today, having multi-factor authentication and VPN connections to your company data is no longer something that I think I should consider. It is already a must. You can't run away from that. When data is on the cloud, you also need to talk about how you can put in and strengthen through cybersecurity solutions. 讲不完. Of course, having said so, I think importantly, there must always be a set of IT policies and SOPs in place, because you need to guide your employees, what they can do, what they cannot do. And when things happen, what do you do next? Okay? This one, unfortunately in Singapore, all of us can't run away. Yes, when there's an event of a data breach, yeah, this is compulsory for so long you're an SME. This is compulsory because you abide by PDPA. Non-compliance means you either have to pay a fine of 1 million, if not up to 10% of your organization's annual turnover. Okay? So having said so, we said so much about digitalization. Of course, apart from buying the normal insurance, like we buy health insurance, for example, you also see an upward trend towards businesses buying cyber insurance. But the hard truth is that today, I cannot just tell the cyber insurer that I want to buy a cyber insurance, because they will throw you one long list of checklists. They need to understand where is your cyber hygiene posture. If you don't pass that, you don't even consider doing it. But a cyber insurance is really to help you offset, recoverable costs in the event of an incident breach, for example, forensics, legal, corporate marketing, for example. These are costs whereby it can help to offset some of your recoverable costs. Okay? Then, of course, I mentioned earlier on, SMBs, which we also notice a lot of them are very lacking in IT policies and SOPs. I mentioned the importance of why IT policies must be put in place. Okay? But having said so, I think the challenges that every one of us face here is number one, like what Raina and even Gary mentioned, the technology talents within our Singapore pool is really very limited, especially post-COVID. A lot of these talents are either back in their own countries because they're also progressing. If not, then manpower shortages here, we are also tightened. We also have difficulties trying to find these foreign talents. So all in all, you see everybody is just struggling and working within the same tools. Same goes for RSM Snow Forest as well. Yeah, we also have that. So we're always constantly finding, how people can career switch, how can we retain our good people within the organization. Okay. Then having said so, unfortunately, IT investment is never a budget set forth in organization because they want to use the money to get more better people to grow their businesses. Then, of course, lack of awareness. A lot of SMBs will tell me that, I'm not sure, even if I talk to this vendor, if I talk to the application vendor, they may not be cybersecurity IT trained. They are just very well versed with their applications, what they can do, what they cannot do. Yes? So, having said so, like I said, so what can you do? Number one, I think, you look at resources like CSA, you look at resources like IMDA, all right? One thing that you can look at is really work with reputable technology partners, yeah? So I said before, don't reinvent the wheel, don't try to say, okay, I need to go and think of how I can craft out an IT policy, make use of CSA, make use of IMDA's website, because they do have a lot of valuable information in there that you can adopt and use instantly, yeah? Then, of course, last but not least, SMBs will always know that it's a challenge to have your own IT staff, all right? Because number one, you're either too small to have your own, all right? If not, it's too expensive to have one, yeah? So therefore, it is always important to look at a professional IT managed service partner that can partner with you to grow your businesses with the right technology. Then, of course, importantly, clients will always ask me, so what kind of grants are made available for SMBs? Number one, not sure whether you have heard of this C2 as a service. I'm sure most of you would have heard so, because this was a program launched by IMDA 2 years ago, whereby this is really to help support SME, disregard at which digitalization phase you are in. All right, this is a complementary service from IMDA. It could be a situation whereby, okay, I just started my business, I don't know how to start. Okay, yes, you can get a consultant. In this case, Stonefirst IT were one of the appointed service provider for C2 as a service to look at how we can help you with digital needs analysis. For clients, for SMEs who are more matured, they've already gone into all the solutions, but because everything is now on cloud, I'm also very concerned, how do I ensure that cyber and data security is being, how do I handle this aspect in my organization? This is also something whereby we can also assist you. So through the consultation, we run through, we understand your pain points. We also tell you what are the solutions and what are the best practices out there. And then we redirect you again to, the grants that are available under PSG. Yeah? Then, of course, next, this next few slides are more talking about cybersecurity and data security, which Nicholas will address later. So there's also another initiative from CSA on this cybersecurity simplified for SMEs. This is also a funding, all right, that they are giving to clients. All right, same goes for your data protection essentials as well. So it's not about, coming in and say, oh, you want this, I give it to you. Unfortunately, the realistic issue here is that when you want to go for this kind of external certification, there's also this long list of checklists. They need to understand where is your current cyber hygiene posture. All right. So if you want, later Nicholas will share a little bit more with you what we do and how we help our clients. Okay. Then, of course, lastly, and my last slide, really in terms of riding onto the digitalization priority, importantly is before you can even talk about digitalization, it is important that you must be able to simplify and standardize and eliminate all your mundane processes. Then you can digitize and then go into digitalization. All right? Talk to the right consultant whereby they're able to advise you on how you can use the different technology, align it with your business growth. Okay? And of course, remember, digital transformation is never an end game. It's a constant, trend that we have to be evolving and keeping up to date. Importantly, managed services, like I said, SMBs, we don't have the luxury to be able to have our own IT. We're either too small, or we don't have the budget for it. So look at managed services as a very important aspect. Look at the right business partner that you can work with, because this will help you ensure that your IT, your network, your data is kept securely. Okay? Thank you. Come, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, Nicholas. Today I'll be presenting on the cyber security essentials and also on the data protection essentials. Yeah, so actually the CyberSafe program actually came out with this program called the Cyber Security Essentials. So what these Cyber Security Essentials actually help to do is that actually help you to enhance your current cyber security practices inside your organization. So I think if you think of it, how would cyber security essentials help you? So if you are an organization that's thinking of enhancing your current cyber security measures, or maybe your cyber security practices, or maybe you want to show your clients that you are trying to that you are very cyber safe and you want to have all these things in place, you can also go for these cyber security essentials. And also RSM is also one of the partners that we are able to provide you the advisory services, so we can guide you along this journey, this cyber security essentials journey, to attain the cyber security essentials certification. Okay, next. So in cyber security essentials, there are a few controls that you need to meet. So I think before you go for this thing, maybe you can ask yourself, do you have these 5 basic controls? But even if you don't have, I think it's okay. We can also guide you along to help you to achieve all these 5 basic controls. So I think the first one will be assets. So assets will include things, for example, your people. Are your people actually well equipped? Do they have the knowledge to protect your own organization IT systems? So I think one thing you can do is to provide them IT security awareness training. Next one will be hardware and software. You understand what are your software and hardware in your organization itself. And also data. What kind of data are you holding? Any sensitive data and where you kept them. And also in terms of secure and protect, which is the second one, you have a secure antivirus or maybe malware protection in place, firewall also included. Next one will be access control. You know whether who can access what and who cannot access what thing, and how are you controlling all these access controls. And next one will be secure configuration. So I think there are certain benchmark in place. I think for CSE will be the CIS benchmark level 1. So this is how you can achieve the basic security standard baseline for your own endpoint devices also. And next one is updates. You do any frequent patching to make sure that all your systems are up to date. And backup, where do you keep your backup? And how frequently do you backup? Do you store this offsite, or do you store it on your cloud, or where else? And the last one will be incident response. So let's say something happened, you need to make sure that there's a response plan in place. So so this is some guideline so that you won't actually panic and you will know sure what to do when the incident actually strikes. Okay, so actually how we can help the clients in terms of the cyber security essentials journey. So I think what we will do is actually we will review whether if you have any existing policies and procedures. This will be your information security policy, etc. And after that, we actually do a gap analysis to actually help you to identify all the potential gaps. And after that, if you do not have any of these policies and processes, we can also guide you along in order to help you establish a certain standard of information security policy and also data protection policy. And also last one, if you are going for the cybersecurity essential certification, we also guide you along to complete this CSA cybersecurity self-assessment questionnaire. And after that, you'll need to gather all the information, and we'll go for a certification body before you can get cyber security essential certificate. Okay, so let's say if you are very good in terms of cyber security posture and cyber security policies, there's another thing called cyber security trust mark. So this is something of a more higher tier than cyber security essentials. So I think the difference between these two is that the cyber security essentials will provide you a very basic set line of cyber hygiene practices, whereas this one is a more distinct mark to say that you are very good in terms of cyber security. So in this trust mark, there's actually five tiers, where level 5 means you are at the highest tier and you are very good at it, and level 1 meaning that you just start out the journey and you have some form of controls and practices in place. Okay, so in terms of fundings, so I think in terms of fundings, SMEs they actually is up to 70% fundings for SMEs, and maybe for social security agencies and maybe for NPOs, they actually up to 80%, capped at 50K for cyber essentials, and the remaining two I'll just Okay, next I'll cover on data protection essentials. So what's the difference between cyber security essentials and data protection essentials? So this is more catered towards the data protection. So both of these actually help you to set up the basics in place. Okay, so to acquire this, right, there's two things here. So the first things will come in to help you set up all these data protection essential stuff, and then after that there will be followed by retainer services. So I think it's a bit small. So I think one of the things inside these data protection essentials is that we need to make sure that you have a DPO appointment. So if you actually go to the ACRA website and you actually search for data protection officers, you'll be surprised that quite a lot of organizations do not have a DPO being appointed. And also another thing we need to establish as part of these data protection essentials is having a data protection and security policy. And in terms of data protection essentials, there's this thing called the software asset inventory map, and where they also help you to map where your personal data is, and also where what kind of assets you have also. And next one will be having some basic data security practices. So for example, like your antivirus, malware, your system security, which includes secure configuration, patching, data security, and also backup of your essential business data. And next one will be incident management. So in terms of data protection, they have this CAAP framework, which is used as part of this data breach response plan. And the last one will be training. So whereas there's a cyber security training, you also need to have a data protection training for your employees. Okay, so how we can help you in terms of data protection essentials? So I think the same thing first, policies are very important. These are what the management wants to see. And also, next thing we'll do is do a gap analysis with a DP checklist. So here we'll identify where are the potential gaps, and then we'll help you to beef up your data protection policies and processes. And if you want to get this DP mark, so in terms of DP, its own certification, they'll give you a mark. So you need to complete this IMDA data protection checklist. And after that, we will gather all the supporting documents and submit to IMDA for verification. Okay, so this is for the retainer services. So after a year, we'll come back again to check on all these things. One of the few things we'll see whether if there's any proper patches, processes in place. Review update of policies, cyber security training, phishing campaign, data breach and response. Data will contain a tabletop exercise. Also, we'll review the data backup process. So if you need any cyber security solution or management solutions, you can also approach us, and we can see how we can help you on that also. Okay, so in terms of data protection fundings, there are fundings. So in terms of SME, there's a fixed grant of 1,600 for DP. And also for social service agencies, there's actually up to 80%, capped at 50K for data protection essentials. So I think yeah, these are the two main people lah. Okay, so I think some of the questions here you might ask is are cyber essentials and DP considered certifications? So like what I mentioned just now, only cyber essentials is a certification, but at the end of the day you receive a certificate, whereas data protection essential is a mark. And this mark, in order to use this mark on your website, you need to meet some certain guidelines and terms and conditions. So how long does this cyber security essentials and data protection essential consultancy take? So let's say if you engage maybe RSM or we engage some other firms, it usually depends on your own organization security posture, and it may take up to 3 months. So what is the validity of the certification? So it's a total duration of 2 years. And is it a must to take a CE certification if I have attained a DP? So upon attainment of these data protection essentials, it is recommended to go and take it. So they may be hidden costs. So for example, if you were to take up on the cyber security essential assessment fee, there may be an additional fee where you need to pay the certification body to help you certify the organization. And next one, DPT, I think will be applicable here. And the next one will be on the practitioner certificate in personal data protection cost fee. So this is actually a cost for DPOs or maybe anyone that handle personal data on a regular basis. So this is a certification. So if your DPO has recently been appointed and he's very new to all this data protection stuff, so this is something that you can send your new DPO to attend this course. This course will teach you about all the PDPA obligations and help you to enhance the personal data knowledge. Yeah, I think that's all for my presentation. So I think I'll pass it back to Karen.